So today's project, we're going to do a couple things. So we are going to remove these roof rails. We're going to spray paint them with PlastiDip. So we're going to take both roof rails off, and then while we're doing that, because we'll probably have some leftover PlastiDip in that can, we're going to remove the rear silver valence, and we're going to spray paint that also. So it's about 40 degrees out in December, which is really odd. So we're going to take advantage of the warmer weather and try to get that done. I originally was going to do that during the summer, but we can try to get it done here in the winter. So we have about an hour and a half of daylight left, so we'll go ahead and get started, see if we can get it done. So you can see these little plastic tabs that are on the inside, and we don't want to break those off. You want to get your pry tool right between the plastic cap and this rubber seal, and just kind of slowly pop it off and then rock it off that way. Now loosen each bolt and switch between each other to try to keep them symmetrical and even, and go ahead and pull off the roof rails carefully. So now that we have the roof rack off, now we need to take that rear bumper off. There's a few bolts here, there's one down in there, there's some push pins there that need to come out, and then there are some bolts here. There's all those bolts on the underside here. There are a couple bolts there on either side, and then the same on this side too, with some bolts and some push pins. So there's quite a lot. Then we'll take, that should pop off after that. Loosen these little white clips that hold the valence on, and go ahead and start painting. When you're putting the rails back on, if you happen to forget which side goes on which, like I did, don't worry, right here says FR, front right. Now I am going to put a little bit of the blue thread locker on the threads because it looks like they had thread locker on there before. So the blue is still removable with hand tools. You don't need heat or anything. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there. I'm just going to finger tighten first and just make sure that they are threaded and not cross threaded. So that's good. So tip of the day is check the weather before you start a project. Otherwise you end up having to find a tarp and cover it before it rains, or while it's raining and after it gets dark earlier than what you expected. So check the weather before you start a project. So now that we have this rear valence all nice and painted, we are going to attach that to the underside of this bumper, again using those clips. We're going to put cardboard underneath so we can protect it from scratching on the pavement. So that PlastiDip actually turned out pretty well. So here's an example of one of those push pins that kind of broke out, and so it's not very good anymore. So I have this kit with a variety of different push pins, and I found one that semi-matches that. So it's good to have a variety of push pins, and see if that one works. Yeah, so that works real nice. So here's what that rear valence looks like. Turned out very nice. Really changes the whole look of the back end of the vehicle. I sheared one of the bolts, I lost a washer, and this rock light doesn't work anymore. So I don't know if that was totally worth it. I think if I was going to do this again, I probably would just mask it off and paint it. At least now I know how to take the bumper off. So now that this rear valance is all finished and the bumper is put back together, we are going to go ahead and put some crossbars on the top roof rack. These support up to 220 pounds. The OEM crossbars that you can get for the 4Runner only support about half of that, about 125 pounds. So I wanted ones that are a little bit stronger, but also these are cheaper than the OEM Toyota crossbars. Looks like everything is well labeled, individually wrapped and labeled. So this one you can see is R for right side. You can see that these are not plastic. That's the other reason why I went with this brand, and I'll put a link in the description below of which one this is. So this is not plastic, this is metal, this is aluminum, and so this isn't going to rust, and it all comes black. So these are all black. It looks like stainless steel hardware. The other reason why I got these is because it comes with a T-slot channel. So I should be able to put little eyelets, T-slot eyelets in here to attach things to. And what I really want to do is use these to attach a long Pelican case that I happen to have and I've had for several years. And it's a very good case, and we'll talk about that later, but I want to be able to use the Pelican case on here and not have to worry about any sort of weight restriction. So this can hold 220 pounds. So we are going to install this and see how it goes. It comes with some pretty good instructions, tells you all how to put it together. Everything is labeled real nice. Front of the vehicle, you got the right, left, so it's all pretty well labeled. Comes with all the parts that you need and this little tiny wrench to tighten everything down. The reason why I got this one is because this slides and you have a T-slot here. You can cut this, and what I'm planning on doing is putting some of these in this T-slot so I can lash down. This will be an attachment point to lash down whatever, lumber or boxes or whatever I need to use these crossbars for. So I'll put the link of these in the description below too. But in order to make them work, I got some extra stainless steel washers, and we'll thread those on. We'll put probably one on each corner and maybe some along the side rails too. So that'll increase the usefulness of these crossbars, and that'll be okay for now. Eventually probably get a full roof rack. So this is the order that I have them. Comes with this little rubber gasket underneath in there, and then I put this other stainless steel washer, the larger one, that'll go on top, and then this smaller one on the bottom, and then this nut on the bottom. So it'll slide in like that, and then you should be able to tighten it, which is good because now you can tighten it and loosen it and slide it wherever you want. So cross section, kind of see what that looks like. You can see when you're piecing this all together, there are slots that allow for some wiggle room there. So when you're putting it together, leave it a little bit loose so you can slide it in there, get a good fit, and then tighten it down. And it comes with this real flat wrench, so you'll have to reach kind of flat underneath there and then tighten these down. So these slide right into the T-slot on the side rails, and these will tighten down. The good thing about this kit is that it comes with an extra set. So if you lose one or break one or it strips or whatever, it comes with an extra set. So that's real nice. Okay, so I think we might do a change of plans. Instead of having the eyelets on top here, which I'm glad I didn't cut this yet, I might just put the eyelets here. So you can kind of see on the inside of that roof rack, it gives a good attachment point, and it's level. You know, it doesn't stick out above. That way, if I can put these, you know, right here and right there, there, and then behind right there. If I can do that, then I won't have anything sticking out. So if I wanted, I could put a large flat thing on top of here without these getting in the way. So I think I'm gonna take these off and put those back on that rail. Okay, now with my change of plans, I had to change the washers. So now I just have 2 larger washers, and the rail will slide between these 2 washers. So just for reference, these are 1/4 inch inside diameter, 1 inch outside diameter Fender stainless steel washers, and these will fit in that roof rail. So now we got everything positioned, and you can see I have the ring eyelets, 3 on each side. Then I have right side, left side, right side, left side, front, and then rear. I like how that looks because it's totally flat. You can put a big sheet of plywood or whatever. I guess you could even put a rooftop tent on there. And it's all fairly loose right now. Before we tighten everything down, we are going to put the caps, and these just snap back on. We want to make sure that we have the correct position and spacing before we tighten anything down. So next step, put all the caps back on. So one thing you kind of have to do is, you see how this T-nut, if you just tighten it how it is, it'll flop out of that rail. So you have to make sure that it's actually in there. And then what I use is this little tool that was included, just to push it down a little bit at an angle so it actually bites that inside of that rail like that. So I'm going to hold this down while I tighten it, and that keeps it down where it should. And I'll do this one too. Okay, there. I can see that's very solid now. And don't forget to tighten these bolts that are underneath there. One thing I noticed is that shark fin there, you see how it's popping up over the cross rails. So if I ever need to haul anything that's larger than the cross rails or longer than the cross rails, it'll hit that shark fin. So I may have to do a shark fin delete for that, I don't know. But anyway, here is what the roof rack looks like. It actually turned out really pretty well. You can see I have the attachment points, those rings on each side, and those are all mounted vertically to be able to attach some straps. This roof rack project turned out pretty well. I'm glad how it looks. I know it's strong. I know it really increases the utility of the vehicle for really inexpensive cost. And if I want in the future, I can take that rubber channel out the T-slots. I can add a bunch more attachments there. It has really quite a bit of utility to it. So that, for low cost, without having to fork out $1,000 for a full roof rack, this is a good way to actually use your roof rack in a variety of different ways. Overall, I think painting the roof rail and that rear valance, that worked out really pretty well with the PlastiDip. It's a pretty inexpensive thing to do, and it really changes the whole look of the entire vehicle. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps out a lot. Go ahead and share it with anyone else. Give it a thumbs up. So that really helps motivate me to make more videos. So thanks a lot for watching.